Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm going to say this is a case where I'll have a personal vlog that will also tie in, with mostly my sports content. As a sports fan like myself, or I think this could be an interesting debate to have. We'll call this one personal vlog number 97. I'm going to say sports fandom is a lot like a religion. What I mean about that is depending on whatever religion you have as choice, if you're either Catholic or a Christian or, if you're a Muslim, whatever you do, I'll respect all that. But I gotta say myself as a sports fan, there's a lot of similar elements to that. Because ultimately it all comes down to, place of gathering and a community, and we're definitely noticing that a lot more where that has been really, really restricted or taken away during, the global pandemic with COVID-19. But ultimately, where I say they both kind of are similar is, the communal aspect where you all gather together for a common thing. Being a sports fan, you really, support your team of choice. I'd say it's the same thing if you are following your religion, is that you're following your religion of choice. There's a different way of showing that you're wearing it, but I definitely feel that being a sports fan like myself is a lot like, going to church or going to a mosque or whatever place of worship you go to. Because I do feel like when I go to a stadium, it has that sacred, feeling that you get. Same thing when you go to a place of worship. Then you see relics from the past. I know that seeing that myself when I go to sporting events, and I always like to get in, right when the gates open ideally, so I can take a walk around. Especially if I'm going to a stadium that I have never been to before, just to take it in, soak it all in and see relics from the past. Or that's kind of similar to a church. You have various relics that you see representing the past, as well as, being a sports fan itself. You always look up to, the athletes and any legends from the past. I know that's what I always feel. Being a sports fan, gather and support each other with your team or your religion. I know that what gets different, but it's mostly you be open to everyone from all races and colors. But I feel that that's what I feel being a sports fan is a lot like a religion, is that you're all together as a community, supporting your one team or your one religion. That's how I look at it that way. And when I go back to how all the restrictions are right now with COVID-19, I know I've had some colleagues that they regularly go to their place of worship as well, and they were bummed just like me, where suddenly for a while they couldn't go for as their outlet to feel that sense of community and pride. And that's why I always feel the same thing as a sports fan myself. At least now, you can at least with the sports part, that they are starting to figure out how to have it so it still happens, where you can still take it in virtually, watching on TV. I'd still rather be at the game myself. But I know that when it comes to religion, that there are slowly, limiting still either gatherings to a certain percentage, or they're also trying to be innovative as well, where they either get to do it virtually on various streaming services like Zoom or Skype or whatever, and even some places that you never thought you would ever think would ever happen to keep up with the social distancing when it comes to church services or whatever. Driving, here you all drive into a parking lot, you all stay in your own private vehicle and see the the service or whatever that is presented in front of you. That is definitely one thing you never thought that you would ever experience, that you never thought it would ever happen. But it's still an important outlet for everyone to have a place of worship. Or in my case, I do feel the same thing. Being a sports fan, going inside the stadium, seeing, just the building, the sacred confines inside, seeing the relics, seeing the past, having hope for the future with the current players. And, it's also been different how sports has been presented as well. during this time. I mean, I never thought there'd be a day myself that fans who are the integral part of the sporting experience, that the games will still go on with no fans in attendance. I mean, with the case with the National Hockey League and even the National Basketball Association. I mean, most of the major sports, even with Major League Baseball or same with the National Football League. Some markets where it's allowed, they do allow fans in attendance, but all spread out. But you never thought you'd see a day where you'd either see tarps covered up at the lower bowls of the stadium so that it doesn't look as, aesthetically it looks a little better to not see empty seats. Or you see those cardboard cutouts that you see in some places, and they've gotten very creative in some markets where you have very creative cardboard cutouts and virtual, screens to show fans a part of the game. And that's why I feel that for me, being a sports fan, it's important that I have that outlet as well, because I know it has that similar elements in my mind, that I feel like that is part of my religion. I do have my beliefs in that as well, following, certain holidays and rituals. But I just feel being a sports fan myself is a lot like, religion, that, the stadium is my church or my mosque or my place of worship. It has the similar elements. I feel that communal gathering, supporting my team and being together as united and, looking up to the athletes from the past and hopefully in the future. I think that's what I feel. That's the same thing about religion. That's just my general sense on it. I mean, it's a nice debate, but that's what these times have also taught me as well. That I'm just as bummed to not be able to go to the game, take it in on the traditional sense, and I've had to find other ways to take it in. Similar to those that, are bummed that they can't go to their place of worship regularly, and they've also had to innovate to get their fix in. Either, but I know that they put a little more emphasis on, churches and that, where you can still partially gather, but it's still not quite the same experience when you're all spread out. And then the same thing with virtual or drive-in. Who would have thought you would have a drive-in church service even just last year? But we have to innovate during these times, and hopefully, sooner rather than later, if things ever get better, and we're all, more vaccinated and beat this thing, that we can all gather like traditional, like me at a sporting event, and wherever else where you gather at your place of worship, with their respective religion. But that was just something I thought of that these times have brought for myself and other colleagues or other people in general. What do you think? Do you see my point on, sports fandom is a lot like our religion? What I pointed out, the sense of pride, community, gathering, all looking up in the same elements, looking up, get that, sacred feel, especially, let's say, if you're going to even more historical stadium where there's a much greater history. I can sense that even more. But soaking in the atmosphere, seeing the relics from the past, and looking in the future. Let's say, for example, if you're an original fan of an original 6 team, that there's a much, much higher standard because of what's been in the past and trying to live up for the, present and in the future. So anyway, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, home of the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, I mostly do talk Calgary sports on my YouTube channel, and this personal log kind of ties in, with me being a sports fan, and kind of makes it in religion, because I do look at, especially in Canada, hockey is a part of our culture. I think it's a religion, for sure. That being a hockey fan, that's part of our culture, and it's a religion to me. And definitely going back to, the global pandemic with COVID-19, that finally, when the NHL figured out how they're going to play in the 2020-21 season, even though it was not without fans, I did feel like that when they finally had the first Saturday night hockey night in Canada. It almost felt like I was sort of like being allowed to, go back to church, sort of, or go back to a mosque or whatever place of worship. I mean, I feel the same thing as many of those who are more devoted into religion as me as a sports fan. It's all similar things at the end of the day. We're all community as people. And then I say personal vlogs, attempt to comedy. And I also do share my experiences I'm on the road or at sport events. So if I get to be allowed to go to sport events again sooner or later. But if that all sounds like be interesting to watch, do follow along this Calgary sports fan's journey. You know what you need to do, just make sure you like, subscribe. I also have my other social media links down in the description below for other ways you can follow me. So I just want to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.